Hello, hello. Welcome back to Safe Space with Kira Graves. I am your host, Kira Graves, and I hope you all are having a lovely week so far. Today, we are going to get into the world of frequencies, energy, magic, the world of the non-physical, but it very much has a huge impact on the physical. I'm going to be giving you a rundown on what is a frequency if you're not super familiar with metaphysics, the benefits of raising your frequencies, and how to raise your frequency, like little tips and tricks here and there on how to raise your frequency and stuff that I personally have done that have really worked. And it's helped me just live a happier, more peaceful, more content life. Raising my frequency has probably been the best decision I ever made. I've been actively raising my frequency for, I would say, 5 years now. Maybe actually no longer than that, because I think I first started to get into mindset work and spiritual, into my spiritual journey in, I think it was 2018. Okay, so for 6 years, I've been working on raising my frequency. So if you're not familiar with what the fuck this means, we all are just frequencies. Albert Einstein said it. Actually, I don't know what specific scientist said it, but we are matter, yes, but matter is comprised of frequencies, of energies, of vibrations, right? So everything in this earth is just a vibration. Everything's just a frequency. And so are we. And wherever we go, we carry with us an aura of almost like an energy bubble of frequencies. And these will attract like-minded frequencies. So whatever frequencies we're emitting will attract similar frequencies. According to Dr. David Hawkins, he wrote a book called Transcending Levels of Consciousness that Lauren and I have been kind of reading off and on here and there. It's a massive book, super science-y language, but basically he just goes through the calibration levels of consciousness. So in his research and in his work, he has been able to measure what frequency a certain person or a certain thing is on. And when you're past the 200 mark, you've transcended your ego. So anything below the 200 mark, you're operating within the levels of your ego. And more negative emotions, more anger, fear, resentment, sadness, guilt, those kinds of emotions. Whereas when you go above 200, they are neutrality, peace, contentment, those sort of vibes, okay? And when a human being has reached above 200, they can impact many more people on this globe by just holding the frequency that they're at. And this helps the planet. This benefits the entire whole of the planet and the universe. So in order to transcend your levels of consciousness, you have to address and work through any negative emotions and any heaviness, any darkness that you're feeling. So I feel like I've talked about this a ton before, but the healing journey is all about confronting your darkness. And when you confront your darkness, you work through it and you let it go, it no longer has a hold over you. You can transcend it. You can move beyond it. You don't have to operate from those levels of anger, fear, guilt, resentment, those kinds of things. You can heal yourself. You can heal your vibrational field and your physical body by doing this. This is because anything that is a low frequency, if a high frequency meets the low frequency dissipates and basically it nullifies it. So this is the case for any sort of interaction throughout your day. Let's say you're driving and there's maybe someone is honking at you from behind. Your instinct might be to initially honk and get mad and be like, why is this person so mad? Why are they so angry? But in that moment, you are stooping to that level of anger or whatever that person behind you honking at you is vibrating at. You might automatically attach to that. Whereas if you were to acknowledge the honking and be like, okay, like this person is just having a bad day and I'm going to send them love. Like I'm not going to get attached to this. I'm going to stay in my, bubble of peace, and I'm not going to honk back. I'm not going to yell back. I'm not going to flip the bird, even though it's tempting to. I get it. Like road rage is a real thing. But by doing that, by staying in your bubble, by not stooping to that level, it actually basically like deletes any of the negative energy that person behind you was trying to send to you. So you can use this in everyday life with whatever you experience. And this is a way that you can actually raise your frequency and continue to stay at a positive level. You're staying in a positive headspace, basically. The benefits of raising your frequency are as follows. These are just a few. These are kind of just ones that came to the top of my head. And this is like such a longer conversation that like I could make many, many videos on this. And there's been tons of books written on this. But, I wanted to just introduce this to you in case you haven't heard of it, in case you haven't been introduced to it. I think it's, a really important thing to share. So the benefits of raising your frequency. One, you actually have the ability to heal yourself. You can heal any physical ailment that you're dealing with, mental, emotional baggage, whatever it is. When you raise your frequency, you actually have more of a power to heal yourself. And by healing yourself, you heal others around you as well by just being yourself. Another benefit of raising your frequency is you open yourself up to miracles. And if you don't believe in miracles now, then you might by the end of this episode, because why not, right? Opening up yourself to believe in miracles, to believe in, the quote unquote impossible. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible for you, but you have to believe it. So by raising your frequency, it helps you to attract the opportunities, the goals, the family, the friends, the love that you want, that you've been aiming towards. Because whatever you are and whatever frequency you hold, you attract that same thing. You'll also find that when you raise your frequency, life just feels very effortless and life is kind to you. When you're kind to life, life is kind to you. And you'll find that, everything you need is right there for you. There's no more struggle. There's just whatever you need is always provided. And people will start to show up that will help you reach your goals. Opportunities will come into your life that will help you move towards whatever you want. Things will kind of just feel in the flow. Like, have you ever felt just like in the flow where life is just unfolding really effortlessly? So that's a benefit of raising your frequency, is like the universe is like basically just like working through you, and you are in perfect harmony with the universe, with source. And another benefit is literally life satisfaction is just higher. You're just more content, you're peaceful, you're not as stressed, you're going moment by moment, day by day, you're living in the present moment. You're not worrying too much about the future, you're not dwelling on the past, you're just very present and living really well. You're living well, you're happy, and who doesn't want that? Like, I think we all want to be happier. We just don't really know how to get there. But this is, speaking from experience, because I always want to share my own perspective. Like, I don't want to come on here acting like a doctor or a teacher, but as a fellow friend who has helped themselves. And let me tell you, by working on, bringing positivity into my bubble, raising my frequency, I have been so much happier. So many of the mental illnesses and mental health issues that I've dealt with in the past are way more manageable now. And I won't go as far as to say they're completely gone. Like, they're still a part of me, but I think I'm just able to make peace with them and cope with them better. As well as like, it's helped like my family relationships, my love life, my career, my financial situation, like all the areas of my life have like improved since I've like worked on raising my frequency. So now let's get into how can I raise my frequency? Like, what are you talking about, Kira? Like, this is so mystifying. Why is this so like, it seems like something you can't grasp. So let me give you some helpful ideas, things that I've done, things that I still do that helped me raise my frequency and keep it high vibrational, baby. The first one is self-awareness. Watch what kinds of thoughts you're having. Watch what words come out of your mouth. That is like one of the first things I started doing on my like spiritual journey, being aware of the stories that I tell myself. So we're always constantly having like a loop of thoughts that just replay in our brain, in our subconscious though. So we might not be aware of them. We might be too busy with our lives that we don't really hear those subconscious thoughts. But you know, if you slow yourself down enough and if you get quiet enough, you can hear them and you can also feel them in your body. If you start to feel maybe your stomach's getting sour, maybe it's starting to turn, there was most likely a subconscious thought or a subconscious like conditioned program that like ran itself through your head and you chose to attach yourself to it. And that's what made your body start to hurt. So the mind-body connection can really help in this way to help you, you know, catch when you might have a negative subconscious thought, or, you know, even if you say something that's really negative and it doesn't align with your higher self, just try and start to catch what you're saying, being aware of what you're saying. Are you focusing on what you don't have? Or do you keep perpetuating and complaining about the horrible state of the world, which is, you know, kind of valid to be honest, but to create change, focusing on the negative and all the horrible things, it's not going to create change. We need to start envisioning a better life, a better world, a better me, a better you, and focus on keeping that positive image in our heads instead of focusing on the negative image. Does that make sense? So just be very aware of your thoughts and actions and words that you speak, the conversations you have with friends. You know, watch if your friend starts to gossip. Watch if you start to cave into that gossip. Or maybe this is the time to be like, whoa, like gossiping doesn't feel good and I'm not benefiting from it. In fact, I'm attracting more of that like negative energy into my life. So I'm just going to decide to, maybe I'm just going to listen in this conversation. I'm not going to, you know, provide my input because I don't want to add to this negativity. Because, you know, when you start talking about other people in a negative way, other people are most likely going to start talking about you in a negative way. It's just everything's a mirror to you. Another way you can like rewire your thoughts is by doing affirmations, listening to affirmation audios, saying affirmations to yourself out loud or in your head. What I've been starting to do lately is right before I fall asleep, in that little moment before you fall asleep, that is when it's kind of like the sweet spot to like rewire your brain. So I've been telling myself the things I've been telling myself every night. I say, I am perfectly healthy, I am worthy, and I am enough. So that when I'm sleeping, those words can kind of set in. And then when I wake up in the morning, I feel the effects of those affirmations that I said the night previous. So I've been trying to do that every night. And I think it's really been helping, especially with the like, I am healthy, because for some reason I deal with anxiety about my health sometimes. And even though like my health is perfectly fine, but I tend to catastrophize things and be like, oh my God, something's wrong when it's not. So a good affirmation for me is like, I am perfectly healthy. Like I am in perfect health. And I'm starting to believe it and it's helping my health anxiety. So anyways, hot tip if you have health anxiety. Another way you can raise your frequency is pay attention to the media and the content you're consuming. Are you watching the news and are you spending your time focusing on, you know, consuming media that's negative? I haven't watched the news in so long. I didn't really grow up in a family that watched the news, but the news is so negative. It's so horrible. Like, why would you want to bring that into your bubble? Like, the news purposely does that. Negativity is more like eye-catching. Like, people are like, oh, what's going on there? It just feeds upon negativity and it's not benefiting you. So if any of the content you're consuming is giving you icky feelings, stop consuming it. Like, you have the choice, you have the power. Change the channel. Another way you can raise your frequency is spend more time in nature, in stillness, in meditation, in introspection. Just invite more stillness and more quiet into your life. This could be whether you want to do a guided meditation, or maybe you just want to sit on your balcony and close your eyes and do deep breaths. Or maybe you want to go for a forest walk and just observe all the nature. Like, these are ways that we can welcome in more of the life force into us, the God force, the energy of where we came from. I think especially in 2024, we're really caught up in being busy, but sometimes being busy is really not the healthiest for us, and maybe we need to find a balance, and maybe it would be wise to spend more time resting and in quiet, because that invites in more peace into your life. I always remind myself that whatever you interact with on a daily basis, you're subconsciously inviting more of that into your life. So if you are interacting with a lot of busyness, if you're keeping yourself really busy, but you want to be less busy, then that's not gonna like help you reach your goal. In order to do that, you have to take more time out of your day and dedicate it to rest and to being peaceful. Because the more time you spend in that, the more that grows, the more that peaceful feeling and that rest and that calm can grow. The next tip I have for you is spend time with people that you genuinely want to have around you. If someone is sucking your energy vampires, I like to call them, make a note of that and be like, okay, like, I will try to limit my time around this person. And it's nothing against them. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that you are choosing not to make yourself feel bad by being around this person. It's a choice. And if it's not a choice, like if it's like your parent or someone you have to like live with, then, if you can limit your time with them, then do that, because, who we hang around with highly, highly, highly influences us and our choices, our decisions, our state of mind, highly, highly. So just be aware of like the energies of the people that you're around. Be aware of energy vampires, because they exist. And it's not like they're intentionally trying to harm you, but it can just be a conscious choice on your part to be like, no, I'm good. Adding on to that point is creating boundaries with just, I guess, energy, situations, people, places, things that don't excite you, that don't benefit you. And you can always tell by the way that your body feels around someone. If you feel open, relaxed, like stress-free, then this is probably a good person to be around. But if you're feeling tight, closed off, defensive, like really pay attention to your body language, because a lot of the times your body language can give you cues as to like how you're feeling. And then you can decide, okay, do I want to feel like this more, or do I not want to feel like this more? Because if I don't, then I'm just going to do everything I can to feel better. Choose to feel better. And you can say it right now. Say it with me. I choose to feel good. How did that feel? Did it feel weird? Did it feel like, oh my gosh, like, do I really choose to feel good? Because sometimes our subconscious mind and our ego likes to prey upon and likes to feed on negative emotions. So if you every day when you wake up, tell yourself, I choose to feel good today. Period. That sets up your day. Trust me, like, I've seen such a difference in literally saying, I choose to have a good day. I choose to feel good today. And then see how your day plays out. Like, most likely, your intention is going to work. Like it always does for me. It's all about intention. It's all about intention. Another way you can raise your frequency is you can work with crystals. You can surround yourself in your home with things that uplift you, make you feel good. So maybe you want to, buy more plants and have more plants around. Maybe you want to create a bookshelf. Maybe you want to have crystals. Maybe you want to start working with crystals. Like, you can choose what goes in your house or your room or wherever you're staying, right? So choose to surround yourself with omens and symbols and things that uplift you and make you feel good. Another way you can raise your frequency is, like I was kind of talking about earlier, in order to transcend, the levels of consciousness, as David Hawkins says, you have to address and let go of any old stuck energy. So this journey isn't just about staying positive all the time, like toxic positivity, like everything's fine. Just put on a smiling face, act like you're fine. No, like this is a huge part of this journey, and in raising your frequency is actually going into the stuff that might be lingering in you, some negative emotions, patterns, past life traumas, current life traumas, things that have weighed you down, things that have caused you stress, things that, you're triggered by. Like a great way to know, like, what can I heal on is what you're triggered by. So if me saying that brought anything up, that can be an area of your life that you can start to make peace with. And in order to make peace with a lot of things, you have to feel those negative emotions, and that's okay. And that's not going to affect your frequency. Like staying in that frequency of like the anger, hate, fear, whatever, that's going to negatively affect your frequency, obviously. But actually going into it to work on it, to heal it, that will help you. So not dwelling on it, but staying with that emotion for a shorter period of time or however long it takes you to address, release, whatever it is that's stressing you out, that's causing you to be triggered, that's XYZ. Does that make sense? So one way you could do this is like journaling. Journaling is a really good tool for like, getting out any like icky thoughts you have. Like, don't worry if what you're writing down is really, quote unquote, angry or mean or, oh, I'm scared this. You got to get it out. You got to get it out somehow. And once you get it out, that's when you can let go of it. And that's when you can nullify that negative emotion because you're bringing peace to it. You're bringing like a positivity to it. I hope that makes sense. I also wanted to bring up anger release because I think that's another really important, underrated thing that's like part of this raising frequency healing journey. I feel like we've always been taught that like, don't be angry, or that like if you're angry, you're mean or you're bad. Like everyone feels anger and everyone has anger, but a lot of us choose to like store it down, push it down, don't address it. But keeping that with you will lower your frequency. Keeping that with you won't make you feel good. So, if you ever find a safe space or a safe moment to let go of that, highly recommend. Whether you need to scream in the car with the windows up, right? You're all alone and you can just scream. Whether you want to like cry to a sad song and let your emotions out, like make sure those emotions have a time and place to be heard and seen. Even those negative emotions are beneficial to you. And they need to have their limelight too. They need to be in the spotlight. They need to have their moment. And then once they have their moment, it'll fade into the background. It's like instead of like going throughout your day with this anger, with this stress, with this fear, whatever the negative emotion is, you're able to actually have a moment with it. Take it for coffee, take it for tea, talk to it, ask it what's wrong. Act like that's your younger self. And it probably is too if it's from the past. Treat those negative emotions with as much like respect as you would as your younger self. Be like, hey, like it's valid that you feel this way. Like there is validity in this and it's okay to feel this way, and just let it out. Let out whatever needs to go out. And lastly, this goes without saying, but treat others the way you want to be treated. The golden rule, the golden rule. Treat others with kindness and you will receive kindness back. Period. And this doesn't just go for people. This also goes for nature, animals, plants, insects, anything in your world, even your house, your car. Treat it with kindness. Treat all of it with kindness, and life will treat you with kindness back. Woo! Damn. I'm a yapper today. I've been yip. I hope that you got something from this episode. Please let me know if you did. I feel like this is going to like really hit home to some of you. Have a feeling. Let me know what you want me to talk about on this podcast next. I'm open to anything, like really anything. Like this podcast is, if you're a new listener, this is just a safe space for us to talk about literally anything, even the dark things, even the sad things, even the scary things. And in doing so, we create more life in our lives because we've acknowledged a lot of the darkness. Darkness just wants to be acknowledged too. You know, we don't need to be scared of the darkness. The darkness has a lot to teach us. And if we're open to learning from the darkness, we can actually invite more light into our lives. And with that, I will leave you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you soon. Mwah. Bye. I love you.